Hello everyone. So this is a pre-market analysis of 13th of August. It's a Sensex expiry. So we will look at the range and what we can trade today. In fact, yesterday Nifty made a big range of 200 points. So if you are getting an opening in between, there is a possibility of 100 point swing high and 100 point swing low also. So in fact, it is now looking almost in the middle, which is around 24, 400, close to that 380 level. So there can be a possibility of move towards 24, 480, that is yesterday's high, and 24,275, that is yesterday's low. So there is a possibility of 100 points and where you can easily trade also even as option buyer. When the market was in previous day range and that range was so narrow, like last expiries, if you have seen, it was 100 point, that's when it was difficult. But today, even if it is between the range, it is going to give you a lot of, I'll just show you and then we will look at other things. Like we need to discuss that Trump have taken complete control of Strait of Hormuz and it's a hawkish statement. There is no peace which is going to come. Secondly, inflation, I'll discuss Indian inflation and US inflation. In fact, both are comfortable. So these are the main two things that I need to cover. But let me quickly discuss this price action of yesterday. So you can see here, market opened almost close to previous day high. And as I discussed in the pre-market itself, there is a major sell-off. You got a bounce. This was your great opportunity to sell again. I told you we are not going to buy call option in any case yesterday. In the pre-market, again, if you watch, you will understand you only buy put or sell call. So this was the plan. And then there was a recovery towards the end. Forget about that. But you got a beautiful trade in the opening and made a range of like 24,470 on the upside, 24,270 on the downside. Now, if you look at Gift Nifty, it's actually indicating a kind of, just 1 minute. So yeah, this was the high yesterday, and then this is the low. So 24,470 and 24,270. So now close was at 435, but it is opening around this level, which is 380. So 380 around that level, Nifty is opening. So it can move to 100 point higher, which is 470, and 100 point lower also. So that means Sensex will give you 300 point swing. So you will be getting very good trade opportunities if you are trading Sensex. You can even look at support resistance trades at that level. You can look at 20 MA support trade, 20 MA breakdown trades. If 20 MA is breaking down, there is a probability it can come to yesterday's low. If it is staying above 20 MA, it can touch yesterday's high, looking at previous, towards the end momentum also. Okay, but probabilities again, if you get a bounce, it is better to sell. Looking at other scenarios, though inflation is good, but Strait of Hormuz, all those situations remain the same. US market also not that good, it's slightly negative only. So we will consider all those. And if you get at a better level, like yesterday's high, if you get, that's a better opportunity to sell. Otherwise, we'll look for breakouts, breakdowns. But chance of that is very less because of a bigger range. And considering this is expiry also, I hope that is very clear. So the plan is very clear. If you are getting at previous day high, sell. Previous day low, buy. 20 MA breakdown, you can sell. So these are the things. Okay, now coming to the positive macro, that is inflation. So yesterday, inflation data came. Headline CPI, that is lesser than expected. Expectation was around 4.5 and it's around 4.45. So food inflation also, it is 5.52. So it is more than previous month, but still less than what is expected. So if you look at it, this is RBI's target is 4%. So for quite some time, we had this inflation below 4%. But even though you have 4%, there is a plus or minus tolerance level. That is +2, -2. So it can go till 2 also, it can go till 6 also. So 2 to 6 is the band that you need to have. So it is a very comfortable range only. So the possibility of rate hike is actually very less since it's a very comfortable range. Okay, so that is one positive. So CPI, in fact, is much needed positive macro signal because there won't be any possible rate hike in the upcoming policy also, monetary policy also. Okay, so after that, you can see once the inflation data released, in fact, Gift Nifty have moved from 24,430 to 24,500 level also. So that is actually showing another positivity. But now it is coming down because of the other development. That's why I told you it is better to sell on rise. If you get a bounce, again, it is better to sell. Okay, now coming to US inflation. See, headline CPI is 3.4% year on year, core CPI is 2.5% year on year. But again, both have approximately 0.1% point lower than last month. That is again positive, and it's in line with the analyst expectation also. So, see, before the CPI release, the market was almost thinking that around 50% probability that the Fed will pause in September. Now, after the CPI, probability of no rate hike is increased to 62% from 50% because this is which is very much in line with the expectation, which is actually lower also. So US inflation data also is market friendly, but US market initially reacted positively to the inflation, just like I told you. Once Indian inflation data released, Indian market also released positively. US market data released, GIFT Nifty again reacted positively, but then AI related stock, then some uncertainties there. But this 10-year treasury auction yield that increased to 4.68. So that when you see this treasury yield giving more returns, then it will affect the stocks, and that's why Dow Jones have become marginally negative. S&P still positive 0.26, Nasdaq 0.54. Right, that's fine. VIX have reduced to 14.5, 5% less. That's again very good. Now, most important point that I want to discuss is US has total control of Hormuz. This is the biggest geopolitical development. On last day, in fact, Iran's leadership was talking about Iran-Oman agreement was effectively finished, and but still Iran is not going to reopen the Strait of Hormuz unless the US is accepting Iranian conditions. Like we have discussed multiple conditions also, but Trump now have made a fresh statement last night that US have complete control over the Strait of Hormuz and American naval blockade is there. That's a wall of steel. No one can pass through. Right? US may continue maintaining that control like that. So in fact, yesterday, around 18 ships have crossed through the strait. Yesterday, Tuesday, Wednesday. In fact, data is not completely available. But the point is, see, in fact, this is actually suggesting some shipping movement have resumed despite all these political confrontation and all these issues. Because we have seen 3, 4 ships was passing through in the last week. But this 12 or 18, which is actually considered to that, it is better. Now, Trump's statement, in fact, can be understood more of a hawkish statement rather than any positive statement because Iran's response, you don't know how Iran is going to react. And because of that itself, the oil price is around 88.5 Brent and WTI still remain at higher level, 82.5. Anything goes above 90, that is psychologically negative. So now the important risk in the market is Iran's response to the Trump's claim, how Iran respond. That's how market is going to respond. Okay, now GIFT Nifty is already indicating a small gap down. As I told, it's going to open around 50-point gap down. Despite all these good numbers and everything, Indian ADR is also showing some negative, some positive. Banks are looking negative. Negative bias is what we can see. Infosys is approximately flat. Wipro is 1.5% positive. Reliance is 1.5% positive. Right. So ADRs are mixed. Banking looking comparatively weak. Yeah, I don't think yesterday's momentum will be sustained in banking. It will lose yesterday's rally most probably. Apart from that, Geo Financial, there is some major investment news also. So those who are trading on that particular stock, you can consider that. The Bank of America is proposing an investment of almost 18,300 crore. That is 49.9% stake in Geo Credit. So it's actually positive. Now coming to institutional activity, after continuous buying, FIA sold yesterday for 1,000 crores. And DIA is bought for around 6,000 crores. That's huge buying from DIA. That could be the one which actually pushed the market upside from afternoon, right? That's such a heavy buying. If you look at the participant behavior, 25% call open interest added yesterday. Put open interest 16.3. That means more call is added compared to the put. So the PCR have reduced and it's slightly again bearish. So in fact, yeah, retailers are selling more calls looking at the data. Maybe yesterday's data we cannot rely upon. Liquidity was very less and more puts have been bought. So retailers are looking slightly negative for today. If you look at prop traders, they bought calls and shifted towards slightly a mildly positive position. FII sold put, so that will act as a support. Maybe they have reduced the bearish positioning. So that's what it looks like. Overall, if you see, clients are again uh, bullish, but bullish OI is reduced from 22 to 18, and FI is net bearish. There still OI is reduced from minus 21 to 18. So the retailers have reduced the bearishness. Sorry, FIIs reduced bearishness. The FIIs reduced bullishness, and prop traders they remain neutral, which is around 1.4% positive. Okay, so these are main points that I want to discuss. Yeah, important level it is just like yesterday's high and yesterday's low. Since there is a 200-point swing, I think that will be the range Nifty try to maintain today, especially when you get a 50-point gap down and almost in the middle you are getting the opening. So 24,470 is a strong immediate resistance. 600 is a strong resistance. 24,280 is the immediate support, and 200 will be the next level of support. Option wise, also, if you see 24,500 maximum call rating, then 24,400 also is there. That's the straddle people. That's where the new call option is coming. 24,500, 600 maximum call rating. Put side 24,300 and 24,000 is their maximum. So range will be, I think, 24,000. Bigger range for this week will be 24,000 to 24,600 itself, recent high, and 24,000. Smaller range for today is previous day high and previous day low. So take care of that. And if you would like to trade with us in the market during the live market, we have the live market mentoring program. So you can talk to my team, join the session, so we can trade together. I explain my trades, and you'll be able to watch that and learn from that. So see you guys.